about 19, oh brother, let me think about this a minute, about 1940 or 41, that's a while ago, my brother and I started taking piano lessons. He was 5 years older. And he did pretty good, and I did very well. It was easy for me, so it was discovered then that I had some talent, if that was where my talent was going to be. If I had any, it was music, because they were fixing things and repairing things and hunting and doing all this stuff that I wasn't doing. But I took piano a while, should have stayed with it, but the folks, for some reason, stopped us. And anyway, it was evident that that had some musical ability. So my brother got in the band playing trumpet, and not very well. But anyway, I got interested in that, so I couldn't wait till it was time for me to get in the band. So in 1945, I joined the school band in the 7th grade. So to make a long story short there, I've played instruments for 67 years, 67 years. And got interested in the swing and jazz part of it. Rock wasn't even thought of. Rock didn't come on the scene till mid-50s and up. And here we're talking about 1945. So it was still big bands then, consisting of 5 saxophones, 5 brass, 3 trumpets, and a couple of trombones, piano, bass, and drums, and maybe a girl singer sitting out front. And I grew up in the city of Greenville, Texas, and bands didn't come into places like that. They were up in New York, Chicago, and LA, and places like that. But every movie, or I say every movie, so many movies featured or had a big band in it, because the people dress up and go out and there's the band playing. And the movies got me turned on to seeing dance bands and saxophone players up playing and all that stuff. And that's what got me into it. So, played in the school band, enjoyed it, and along about 1950, into 51, East Texas State College was 15 miles away in Commerce, and they had a nice dance band, and we'd go over and hear it. In fact, we started going over in 49. We'd just sit out front in the car because they all had the windows up, no air conditioning, and listen to the band at night, and just knock us out. At the end of 50, the beginning of 51, I got the word from the East Texas band. I'm still in high school, a senior in high school, going to graduate, that the first sax player had been called back into the Korean War. He was a veteran and had to go back. So there was an opening for that, so I went over and played, and they took me as a high school kid to play with that dance band the rest of my senior year. So then I go to North Texas State, which was really known for that type of thing, and got in the program there, the jazz band, and started adding doubles. I could play clarinet a little bit with my sax, and I was playing bassoon, and that's how I got in North Texas, was on bassoon. They wouldn't even take you on saxophone back in those days. So 5 years of that at North Texas, playing all the woodwind instruments, added oboe later, so it was sax, clarinet, flute, bassoon, oboe. In 53, I had married in the spring, and we were out of money by the first of the summer, and there was a trade magazine that needed musicians for bands out of Omaha, Nebraska, what they call territory bands. So I applied for that, and a guy called me, and yeah, I need you. Could you meet us at Perrin Air Force Base in Sherman? So I go up there. They have a big tractor trailer. It's a sleeper bus, they call it, and it was a monster. There was a single room for the leader, a single room for the girl singer, and then bunks for us guys all the way back to the back. So I ended up three rows up, riding backwards over the back wheels, so I didn't sleep much the first few nights. There was a shower on the thing, generator, we could plug in electric razor, so anyway, we could travel all day and all night and step off already dressed, showered, shaved, and ready to play. So I did that all summer, and that thing covered, oh goodness, everything from Texas up to Canada, all the states in between, and Iowa and Minnesota and Missouri and New Mexico, you name it, Colorado. So that was my first professional deal. So I've been a professional musician, whatever that is, be 60 years in the summer. And then after North Texas, came to Dallas, and there was lots of work making commercials, and it paid well. I was going to stay here a while and leave and go to Los Angeles. Already had connections out there, knew who I was going to take from, where I was going to take, had a teaching certificate for Pasadena schools, and could go right to work and try to get in the scene out there, playing movie background music and all that sort of thing. So anyway, the recording business was so good here that I never got there. And back in those days, I had to make a note, we were doing so much. You had that during the daytime. You had 6-night-a-week jobs in many places. The hotels had big showrooms with the stars of that era coming in and doing shows 2 weeks at a time. And Icecapades used live music, which I played. Disney on Ice, Holiday on Ice, Ringling Brothers Circus. They would use some local musicians when they came in, played that several years. National Finals Rodeo, Fort Worth Stock Show, Miss Texas Orchestra, but did 25 years at the Music Hall in the Dallas Summer Musical Orchestra, that plus Casa Manana in Fort Worth, and did about that much time at the Fairmont Hotel with bands there. I would go in as a sub practically every week and played for lots of the people that I had listed here. I made a list of these people because of high school reunions. They say, well, what have you been doing the last 50 years? Well, I thought I had played for about 100 known people, and I made the list, and it's about 180. Your audience wouldn't know any of these people, their grandparents would, but I did play for Vice President Hubert Humphrey when he was Lyndon Johnson's vice president, and that took place after the assassination of President Kennedy, which I was downtown that day at a convention for Dr. Pepper at the Statler Hilton Hotel. Dick Clark was there because Dr. Pepper had sponsored him on American Bandstand. And we took a break at lunch to go eat, and the motorcade hadn't gotten there yet. We stood on the street a while waiting for the motorcade, and I said, well, I've already seen President Kennedy. I saw him when he came through making his speech in September. So we went on and ate, came back out, and had no idea what was going on. We'd go in stores, nobody wanted to wait on us. So we went back to the hotel and found out what was going on. Anyway, Vice President Humphrey came one Sunday afternoon at the Adolphus Hotel, and I was with a small band to play for him. And as I went in, there were guys up on the roof of the Adolphus with rifles. This is after the assassination. And I go in carrying a gig bag with my saxophone, looked like a rifle. And boy, they stopped me immediately and jerked that thing out. And when they held up the saxophone, the Secret Service said, "It's not loaded, is it?" And I said, "No." So I played for Humphrey. I played for Al Gore when he was going by Albert Gore and ran for president, or trying to get the Democratic nomination. We played for him at the the one out on the Dallas North Tollway Hotel. Played for Richard Nixon when he was running, the time he ran and made it, not the time he ran against President Kennedy and did not make it, but he ran against Hubert Humphrey, I guess, and made it. And played for George W. Bush out of office, just at a party in Highland Park. There was a party for him in the home of Gerald Ford, not the Gerald Ford president, but Gerald Ford that's contributed to SMU, and the stadium's named after him. And Ronald Reagan, this is really a stranger. I played for him in the late 50s, and he was not even in politics yet, had not run for governor of California. He was spokesman for GE, and there's a big GE plant in Tyler, and we were down there for the Rose Festival with an orchestra, and he was the MC. And the picture came out in the paper with the two of us real close together. I never saved the picture. I wish I had. But other than that, people that your audience might have heard of, there's, a whole list here. The Platters and the Spinners and Pat Boone and Ricky Nelson. Ricky Nelson, that's the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life. We were playing him at the Tarrant County Coliseum. It has all that steel. When he came out on the stage, whoo, my ears nearly split, and there was a policeman were in front of the stage, locked arms to keep people from rushing the stage. That's how big he was. And very ironic thing, we were playing at the hotel with the big thing spinning around. I can't think of the name of any of these downtown. and he was to fly in and do an open air concert. This was New Year's Eve night, and the plane crashed and killed them all on the way to that. Anyway, Tony Orlando, people may know Jerry Lewis because he has the telethon every year, Labor Day. These are people I've played for. Larry Hagman, because of Dallas. We played on the Dallas set several times, and so that would also include Barbara Bell Geddes and Linda Gray. Judy Garland, they may know her from when they showed Wizard of Oz. Of course, she was a grown-up lady when I played for her. Anybody else on the Carol Burnett they may know of, Anne Margaret, Shirley MacLaine, Debbie Boone, the likes of that. Anyway, as I say, rock wasn't even in the picture. Dance bands like I'm talking about, 5 saxophone, 5 brass, would play high school proms, you know. And then when rock came in, they were pretty well gone. I was over at East Texas State University, it was then, in the later 50s, and was judging there as a judge for solo contest, people playing flute and whatever. And I asked the young lady that was assisting me about the East Texans, what was the dance band. She said, oh, nobody wants them anymore. They want a rock band. Said they would be at a dance and nobody'd show up. So when rock came in, boy, it came in. And but there has still been a market for what we do with the older people. And that's why we are still in existence and still going to some extent. In fact, at this moment, there's a 13-piece band plays in Fort Worth on Wednesday night that I'm playing with. It's 5 saxophones and 5 brass. And ballroom dancers like that, because whereas a rock band won't play sambas and mambos and cha-cha-chas and waltz and rumba and foxtrot and swing, we play all those, and these people are taking lessons and learning these steps. So that's what keeps us going. And that's a long answer to your question. So if you have another question, we'll deal with that, or if that's sufficient, we'll let it go at that.
I think that's good. Yeah.
All right.
That was great.
Hope I don't put your audience to sleep.
Oh no, that was.